Hi, I'm Nathan Little.
Hi, I'm Alex Maxwell.
And I'm Max Phillips. And it's episode 3.
Woo!
Just
we
me.
did it, boys.
I know, who'd have thought we'd have made it this far?
I know. Like 3 weeks of committing to something.
I mean, especially for you, that's crazy levels of commit.
Right?
So yeah, last week, as we said, we either were gonna have a guest or we were gonna cover Isle, and next week we're gonna cover Isle, which means this week
We're
Bruce
also
Willis.
gonna cover
Yes.
Isle.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is actually here.
I know. So, I mean, as I know him, I'm gonna introduce him. You might know him from films such as Before Sunrise, Before Midnight, Before Sunset, The Good Lord Bird, and Boyhood. Obviously, you'll all be aware of the famous actor Ethan Hawke. Well, this isn't him. This is my good friend Nick Hawke. Hawks. Hawk?
You've literally got my name wrong.
Oh my
okay.
god.
That's fine.
20
We'll keep it in.
years
Hi,
you've known
Nick.
each other.
Keep the struggle.
Yeah, for 12 years. It took 12 years to make. Hello. Nice to
Hi, Nick.
be here. It's
Yeah.
a lot, this is a big thing for me. I'm very excited.
You're on a low-viewed podcast that requires you to watch it.
It's building momentum. It's building momentum. I think that's probably the...
We've done 2 episodes, we don't know where it's going.
Yeah, we haven't seen the trajectory.
Yeah, but I mean, it
We
did
might get
better than
cancelled.
expected. I mean, one of us
before this
has
gets
to at some point, surely. Just the law of averages of white males.
That's true. It's true. Gotta be. Maybe.
Move on from that one.
I feel like this has been a really good introduction. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Welcome to the show.
We're doing a podcast. You stole my bit, you shit. Episode 3, and you're already stealing my stuff. So yeah, Nick is a good friend of mine, a creative mind, stuck in a cynical body.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, no. I've worked with Nick a number of times over the years, kind of in more recent years. I suppose if we go even further back, we shared some time on the stage back in our thespian years. I haven't grown out of it. Nick did, despite being very, very good. Look at his face. He's like, stop it, you. But yeah, no. Kind of as the years went on, both developed a love for film and video production. Been lucky enough to work with him for a number of projects, including our short film Isle, which we will get onto, we swear, but not yet. You have to...
Much like the release of Isle, it will take a long time to get.
Coming soon. And
Has
in
it been
2
officially
years,
released?
we'll talk.
Yeah.
All right, okay, good.
It's out and about.
I had a real fear there that this was...
It was
It's
a
still
festival darling.
Yeah, it was. We actually won awards. We can't talk too much about it, because otherwise...
We've got nothing to
what
talk
will we
about
do
next
for
week.
Yeah.
Next week, yeah. But yeah, no, we won some awards. I actually had them up. We were talking about it before. We won 2 awards. We were selected for 3 festivals. We were a semi-finalist in one and a finalist in another.
And best screenplay.
And oh yeah, we did. I'm just seeing kind of like a short kind of
Best director
synopsis
nominee.
for you. Hey,
Baffling.
didn't win. Hey,
No.
What festival was that for? Where was
I
that?
can't
Feel
remember.
the Real International Film Festival 2020.
Yeah.
Was that the Romanian festival?
Bull. Oh no, Feel the Real is Glasgow.
Oh.
Oh,
I put in a good word for you there. I popped through.
Cheers. Just hopped over from
Yeah,
Edinburgh.
shouted over from Edinburgh.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Appreciate
It's
it.
alright, don't worry.
Just like your next door neighbours. So, I mean, this episode, I suppose, it's really to discuss kind of, obviously, we're all living in the current climate of coronavirus. Coronavirus. And kind of living in a pandemic, we have seen a big hit to the creative industries. And We've all kind of faced that in different ways. Obviously, being in different parts of the country, being not in the country at all. And it was kind of talk about our experiences with that. And we thought, I asked Nick kind of straight away. We did episode 1. I was like, hey, do you want to be on our podcast? Just went in with like hard-hitting enthusiasm.
It's nice to be wanted.
I think we knew like that once we'd moved away from reviewing our own films, which we've still got one more to do, obviously, but we knew that at some point we're going to need to have things that we talk about, and you can't really in 2021 talk about anything without addressing the thing, you know. So like
climate change.
Out of the way early.
Do you remember when that was a thing? That was a real issue for a while, and now
it still is.
No, it's gone away.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got a few notes down and a few questions and stuff that I thought would be interesting.
Throw them out
way
into
or another. That all revolve around how to stay like switched on at the very least, I know me and Nathan being in England have had an absolute shit time with it, so Alex has been able to film more, but I'm more interested to hear from Nick, because obviously we put up and speak to Alex every day, so we know how he's doing. We will get onto you, but
he's constantly gloating.
Nick, what projects have you been managing to get up to, if any?
I mean, it's obviously we're in this very similar situation up here in Scotland, and it's not ideal in terms of filming. There's quite a lot of restrictions in place. I haven't really been doing a huge amount through sort of like any kind of commercial work. Most of my stuff that I've been doing has been through my actual job, because you need something to pay the bills, and I was lucky enough to be furloughed for a particularly long time. So I was brought back. I work for Edinburgh Uni in doing communications for them, and a lot of that stuff has been video work. A lot of it has been editing videos, just having someone who has a moderate competency in editing on staff, because digital content has become massive over the last the last year, particularly as we haven't been able to do a lot of in-person events and activities. So it's been quite useful to have someone who has some background in video making, an aspiring eyeball merchant, to sort of create and make videos that are quite engaging for students, because it's been quite an isolating time for them.
Yeah.
On top of that,
they've been kind of big victims in this whole thing.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's been difficult. It's been very difficult for them, and you see it a lot. And a lot of the stories that you hear are pretty. I mean, we had it easy by all accounts for when we were at uni compared to this.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Could you imagine? I would be absolutely fuming if I was a student right now, paying $9,000 a year to attend an open university, basically.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, that there's nothing wrong with open university, but if I wanted open university,
yeah,
I would have
exactly.
paid for that. I would have saved like thousands of pounds.
50 grand.
On fees and
accommodation.
Rents. Yeah, that's the thing, the accommodation side of things, because that's all done beforehand.
I think as well, like a lot of universities weren't set up for digital learning.
No.
Unlike the Open University, which obviously does a lot of digital learning. So if you're doing a degree, say in the creative industries, what are you up to? If you're doing like any of those degrees, politics like was my old degree, and all of that is online. And the first day of term, you heard reports of like the online learning system going down. It's not a great way to start the year. No. So
my god.
And with the creative ones as well, like so Alex and Max, you both did like media, film. I can't remember the exact name of them, but
media,
like
film, and television.
There you go. You would go out and just film stuff because you can, but now it's like, how do you make something for like an assignment, or how do you work together as a team to create something when you can't even see those people in the same room?
That's the biggest thing, is like working in film and TV. It's a collaboration always. It is always a collaborative effort, and it is the creative industries that are being hit so much, because you look at that situation and you look at kind of acting schools and dance schools and all that, and it's usually such an ensemble kind of effort, and you're working with people, and that's one of the main things you have to learn how to do, is to work with people, because the people who are into film and into acting who just do it themselves, and that's why they're interested in it in the first place. But you have to learn those kind of give and takes, the compromise, the producer versus director, and director working with the cinematographer, and the producers and directors working with the entire crew. How do you learn that? Obviously, you need some good interpersonal skills, but
I don't know if any of you watch Patrick Willems on YouTube.
Yeah, I do.
Right, and he shared a photo a couple of days ago of the struggle of being a videographer during COVID, and it was a photo of himself and like 2 other actors that he has in this series on Discord or Zoom, and he was saying that each of them is recording their own video, audio with all their own lighting set up. So it's 3 separate, like, basically stages, 3 separate sets, and he's trying to direct them over Zoom. Wow. And I'm sure that's a very common thing, because, like, at the start of, do you remember that show, was it Staged, that came out at the start? And that was like, oh, look at this whole new media. It's all shot on iPhone. It's all, like, shot on Zoom. I guess it's just become the norm now.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
I'm very concerned that that's going to be a trend. I don't. It's different for everyone. Personally, I don't like being constantly reminded of the situation I'm in when I'm watching.
I think Staged was a different thing because it was like, it's like the first comedy about the thing, and it's making fun of not like making fun of the situation, but it's like, let's all laugh at this ridiculous situation. Finding the comedy in it, and you're like, this is really new and unique. But if everyone does it, you're like, okay, right, it's done now. Like, let's see something else.
I mean, Unfriended was pretty poorly reviewed when it came out. If you remember that film, it was all set within a computer and all set on webcams.
I think it's all right, Unfriended. I don't think it's a fundamental failure, because it has stuff in it that's legit. Like, whenever you see stuff like that, it's always they've got like fake phones, and it just takes me out of it. But the fact that they were on like real software and using real websites, and sure, the premise is lame, but I think it works in a weird way. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say.
The thing is, you won't know until you try, right? It's like, who's the director who's doing like iPhone films?
Soderbergh.
Yes,
Soderbergh.
Yeah, and it's like, I looked at the trailer, I'm like, this looks, from like a visual standpoint, awful. I'm sure, but like the story in it, everyone says like Unsane and high flying birds.
Yeah, is it?
High flying something. I can't remember the exact name, but apparently they're really good. They just don't look amazing because it's shot on an iPhone. But it's like, if it's the first time you're doing it and you're pushing the boat out a bit, who cares?
I mean, Soderbergh was the first COVID director before anyone even knew it was a thing anyway, because he directs, writes, films and edits all his films himself. Even like his big stuff, like his Oceans films, that he filmed them all himself. Like, he's great.
I do find it quite, because like I've started to shoot on, like, getting back to the stuff that I've been doing during COVID. Like, I wasn't making a lot of stuff that was particularly exciting for me. It was just all for work stuff. So I started just making videos about Edinburgh, because that's as far as you could travel. Plugging my own YouTube channel there, it's Nick Hawks. So that, originally the first video I've shot, I've sort of filmed 3 so far and released 2. And the first one I shot it on my GH5, and it was like a static shot, and it was just me talking with animations going up. It's, not hugely engaging. And the second one I thought, no, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I got an iPhone, I just got an iPhone, and I heard the video was pretty good on iPhone as long as you didn't shoot in low light. And so I just filmed it all on my iPhone, and it just enabled me to do a lot more, because I just had it on an Osmo. It wasn't as conspicuous as carrying around, a GH5 with a massive lens, and on my Ronin, and I wasn't getting as tired carrying around this enormous thing for a day. And my partner, she filmed bits of it as well, and she's not, she's not a videographer by
did
trade.
a good job though.
but she did a really good job. And maybe I wasn't the most friendly director in the world, but like it was. I mean, it was really fun. It was really cool to see because I always wanted to just sort of like minimize my equipment list as much as I can because I get very self-conscious when I'm out in public filming. Although I had like 5 people come up to me asking if I was a vlogger, which was not really something I wanted. I was like, no, I'm actually creating art. I'll have
vlogs are
when they come over, did you go, "What's up, guys"?
Welcome to Edinburgh.
I'd probably get more views with that, but I had a lot of people taking photos of me. Obviously, people thought I might have been famous, so they might as well just get a photo of me just in case.
That's so weird.
That's funny.
Probably about
just
20
the title
people.
of the video is like Edinburgh's innocent railway, not so innocent, gone sexual.
Yeah. Although my friend did ask me, he said to me, you should, because these videos are like 8 minutes long, because that's the kind of stuff that I watch on YouTube, because I'm a massive lame-o. And, like urban design, Jay Foreman, like the Tim Traveler and things like that. But he was like, you should put it on TikTok. And I, as an old man who's going grey, was incredibly resistant to putting on. I still haven't finished editing it. It'll take a bit of time to get 7 minutes down into a minute. But like he was like, put it on TikTok because it's not something that people have seen.
You don't have to edit the whole thing down. It's just put little snippets on and people will be interested.
But that use the story. It's a challenge.
It will be massively beneficial. TikTok is changing the game in terms of everything.
I've just moved on to TikTok.
I love it. I remember when it was Musical.ly, and it was the worst thing in the world. And then I don't know. I think it was in 2020. Really, it sort of just became almost like the perfect content site in a way because it's short form and it's completely catered to your taste once you've used it enough. So mine's, stupid comedy sketches and guitar stuff and then weird like history stuff and dogs, and it's like all condensed into one. But it's also great because how many people in this last year have blown up just from TikTok, and even my friends and stuff. Like I have some friends that are designers, and she was saying that she'd got told to put one of her designs on TikTok, and she got like 100 sales from one TikTok alone.
That's crazy.
Problem
with their little algorithm,
TikTok.
though. Sorry.
No.
The problem with their algorithm, if you spend too long on like a particular thing, or like, because I've started posting, because obviously, I'll plug it now. Why not? Because this is going out on Friday, which is the release date of my new single, Imaginary Lifestyle. But I've been kind of trying to promote it through TikTok as well. And because I've been kind of putting out music content and kind of interacting with other music accounts, and, that's how you kind of build that stuff. It's all like singers, songwriters, musicians. But I'm like Max in that I use TikTok to watch the most ridiculous, stupid sketches. So, if you could like have your what you're using it to put out, but what you want to consume, if you could kind of
I get what you mean.
Have those separate, that'd be quite nice.
I haven't used TikTok enough to get past the point of just like trash, pure trash. And these people are far more successful creators than me. Some of them, but I just think, my God, like, what am I watching? Like, why do I bother writing a script, going out, shooting a video, getting a drone, spending hours editing, when I could just be doing 30 seconds of me dancing? I mean, people would pay to watch that, obviously.
I would watch that.
Thank you.
I would.
I guess
watch that.
It's different rewards for different people. Like some people thrive off of like seeing, I had like 10,000 people watch my video, and some people like I spent hours and hours crafting this, and then like it's just it's what you prefer doing. Because I'm the same. Like for my work, my boss was like, we need to start doing stuff on TikTok, and I was like, I don't want to turn the videos that we make into like TikTok videos, because one, I don't think it's the platform to like for like kind of like professional kind of stuff, but also it's just like you put so much effort into making a video that is like 3, 4, 5 whatever minutes long, and to compress that down into a minute, it's almost like, why did I bother with the rest of it?
Yeah.
it kind of feels like it needs that whole thing to like breathe. It's like taking an hour-long film and compressing it into 10 minutes. It's like you miss out everything else.
You're getting the TV cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that in a weird way. Like whenever I see, say, comedy shorts are a good example, but I'm also the same with, because I have a lot of music production tips on my TikTok, so I get a lot of stuff like that. But especially with comedy and all those sketches, I'll see something that's really, really, really funny in the space of like 20 seconds, and it'll make me go back to a sketch that I've written and try and condense it down more. It still won't be 10 seconds long, but it'll just sort of remind me that I need to compress and to make
It's almost like what Vine did for sketch comedy.
Yeah.
Because Vine was, 7 seconds long? And it was like, you could create really, really funny sketches in 7 seconds. Obviously, they weren't like SNL kind of sketches where they're like a few minutes long or something. But it was really, really funny content. And I think the thing with TikTok, maybe I'm just cynical and I don't like it. I've never been on it. I've never used it. But it feels like this weird medium of being like, you're between ultra short and long format. And it's like this weird middle ground. I mean, I guess it's not just used for like sketch comedy and stuff. It's all sorts. It's everything. But for...
I do... Oh, go on, sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, I do think that even within that, there is the opportunity for, like, I guess, I don't know, it sounds like what Quibi was trying to do with their short form content, whether or not there is that opportunity for sort of, like, not more serious, but more engaging short form content that goes beyond, like, as you say, sketch comedy or people doing a dance. Like, I'm literally showing how old I am by saying it's all just people doing a dance on TikTok.
Doing a dance.
But I was walking. I was outside a couple of days ago, and I was wandering along through these gardens, and it was these two girls, like, and they were just like dancing in the middle of Princess Street Gardens. And I was filming in the gardens a couple of weeks before. They had no fears about like filming, dancing in public, and I was sat there just like looking around when I was filming, making sure no one was looking at me.
I think that's dope. I think that's a good sign of things to come for the future. Like that people will just have this confidence, because I think all of us are exactly like
don't.
that, Nick, of just being like, can
It's
we
so
film
apologetic.
here?
It's like, I don't know, is this allowed
Yeah.
socially?
Even if I'm like outside Alex's house trying to film a take, I'm like, oh, a car might pass.
Yeah.
Wanna...
I don't want them to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like younger content creators are a lot more not brazen. They're a bit more daring than I ever would want to be. I still feel very, like, as I said, very self-conscious about filming in public. And, you know, having people coming up to me and talking to me about like what I'm doing, I'm not a huge fan of. People just watching me. That was another thing when I've been filming in public, like just me talking to a camera. They'll just watch me do takes, and I mess up quite a lot. And just having people like an audience is not something that I want. As I'm messing up multiple times. But as I say, these girls, like, they messed up their dance maybe like 3 or 4 times, and they were just back to it. You know, they were right in the center of the gardens. It's good though. It's nice to see people be more daring with content, but it can, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it can go a wee bit too far. People don't really know the line of it.
I love so much the idea that if someone's watching you doing a take, just start the take, just like dead at the camera, just like, this YouTube video was filmed in front of a live audience, and just like then just like look at them and just wait for them to leave. But keep
that
it
doesn't
in.
happen.
Keep it in the
I've just
video.
got abuse. I mean, there was a few where like people in the background, because I was filming at monuments, and the last video was that I saw released was at a monument.
Yeah.
It's like this big, huge, like, it's a very photogenic place. Well, photogenic. It's a very like scenic place in Edinburgh that loads of people go to take photos up there. And my God, a number of people just in the background posing for, like, I feel so sorry for the boyfriends or the friends and the partners having to take these photos, because you can just see just the despair in their face on these photos. But yeah, it's always so busy. I don't know where I've gone with that. Let's just
I've been
that.
in that position where you're the person taking the photos, and there's so many people around, and I don't mind it. But it's when they go, do you want one for your Instagram too? And I do, because anyone that follows my Instagram knows that I'm very vain, and just I love that shit. but I'm also like cripplingly anxious, so I'll be like, nah, I'm alright, don't bother, and then I'll walk away like, oh, would have been a great photo.
Well, I never want to take pictures of people. I was in Amsterdam one time, and this couple like came up to me and was like, "Can you take my picture for me?" And I just pretended not to speak English and walked away.
I thought you were gonna just be like, no.
I don't
I
know.
don't want to.
You have that danger of like you're either gonna take a photo and they're gonna look at it and go, "Oh yeah, no, that's great," and as they walk away, you just see them delete the photo. Like I think that's another thing is like when I've been out filming with my GH5, the people it's not a huge camera, but a bigger camera often makes you look a bit more professional, like you should actually be there. So people do come up to you and go, "Oh, that's a very good camera. Can you take a photo of me?" And I'm like, "Actually, I'm a videographer, so no." That's how I try and get out of it. I'm like, "No, I don't. This camera does not take photos."
You just do a
unfortunately. I'm
video
sorry."
for like 15 seconds. You're like, "There's a frame in there somewhere." You're like,
Just like, I can take up to 120 of you in 1 second. I think that would be a nice time, like just a nice little moment to. I mean, I've put it through on a live stream there on Discord, just to have a quick look at some of Nick's content.
We don't need to do that.
What's the deal with Edinburgh's Innocent Railway? We won't have to watch it all, but if you haven't seen it, it is very good. You should watch it.
It's the 19th century, and Edinburgh needs coal. No self-respecting city in the age of industrialisation could survive without some high-quality coke.
Yeah, this looks like the sort of shit that I would watch on YouTube. By the way, I didn't mean to call it shit. that was just my vocab.
I remember kind of talking to Nick when this was put out and kind of teasing him a little bit about having the phone in his hand. I'd forgotten, right? Because we'd done something. I can't remember. Was it for an actual video or was it just when you were playing with your new camera?
What
You had
for
a teleprompter.
What, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do have a I did have a teleprompter for the longest time, but then I had to give it back to work.
It was not. Oh, should have kept it.
But what I did in the second one is, because quite a few people picked up on that, I said it looks pretty unprofessional for you to have your phone in your hand. And obviously I'm reading off a script there. And what I did was because I basically had to go and refilm the video, I learned basically the entire video pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that doing drama for a number of years and public speaking kind of taught me, was that I can learn things pretty quickly. So I learned it. And I think it looks a lot better for it. And also I was filming on my phone, so it wouldn't have been ideal to have my phone in my hand.
Have it on your phone.
Just be a selfie, yeah.
I mean,
I think also in this day and age, I think the idea of what looks professional and what doesn't really matter. Like I know a lot of content creators that use iPhone as microphones. In fact, I think I'll probably do the same when I finally get round to recording the second part of my SNL video.
Oh yeah.
Stay
Have you done
tuned.
some already?
Yeah, I've done the first part of it. I'm basically doing half of it shot inside, half of it shot outside, just for a bit of variety.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I
So
suppose
I'll
it's a
use
good
that
time
as a
to talk
microphone.
about things that we're all doing through the lockdown. Like what things, like Alex, I know that you've been doing, where you made a short film while we were still in lockdown. If you want to talk about that.
Between our 2 lockdowns, which was cool. So I did, yeah. So we had our lockdown in the Isle of Man from about when was it? Like, I want to say just after March, like
to June,
April. Yeah, it was like a 3-month lockdown from like the end of March, beginning of April, and then after that, it was all open. You know, we were very, very fortunate. Obviously, living on a small island, there's like 80,000 people here. Everyone knows each other for a start, and it's quite there's an older population here, that it definitely needed protecting.
Yeah.
And it was a big sense of community. Like obviously, not everyone was big into it, like you see all over the world. People are like, it's not necessary, it's not real, this, that, and the other. But for the most part, it worked, and the people who didn't follow the rules were sent to prison. it was as simple as that. It was like Emergency Powers Act. If you don't follow the rules, you will be punished. And it worked. 3 months later, we were out of lockdown, and we were out pubs, clubs. Not that I went to pubs or clubs, but
They were open.
everything was open. And I got an email from Road, hence my hat in episode 1. Well, they didn't email me, so I bought a hat. And it was for the annual competition, my road reel. You had to make a 3-minute film. It could be basically about anything. And I was like, I have 6 weeks to think up an idea, write it, pre-produce it,
Yeah.
make it, and edit it. And so I did. Had a great team of people. We didn't win. I did get a consolation hat, which was good. And it was good fun. I had Manx talent. We obviously being on the island, we had to use people on the island. We couldn't ship anyone over because they had to isolate. And it was really good fun. I felt very, very fortunate to be able to do it. And
Yeah, I was. It was a
Getting back
very
into it.
weird feeling, because this was sort of. It felt like a Glassline project that didn't involve me and Nathan at all. So like we've had other stuff that we might not have been there to film, but we've helped with scripts or production or emails or whatever. But this one was just like we couldn't do anything.
No.
So like you'd sent us the scripts and stuff, and we'd given it our critique, if you like, but that was it. So it was weird.
It was weird for me.
People being like, they've put out a film, and I was like, I haven't.
Kinda. It was weird for me as well, because we are a business, and we do have our own projects, kind of commercially, here in the UK. But we're a creative team. We're each other's creative partners, and what we make is always very collaborative. We disagree constantly about stuff, but I think it makes the content that we make all the better for it, because we have 3 quite vastly different perspectives that somehow form cohesive pieces of content. And I mean, don't get me
I think
wrong,
it's good that
I
we
am
have
happy with this.
I was gonna
But I
say
miss that.
it's good that we kind of have almost like separate skill sets as well.
Yeah.
That like we can kind of take our own areas of interest and expertise and kind of like mesh them together. Which is why I really liked the road reel, because we had nothing to do with it. It was just entirely you.
It was very strange. It was like, obviously, we say entirely me. Of the 3 of us, there was still a definite collaborative effort with other people. Like Dave Armstrong was kind of who I started off doing this with. I approached him. I said, I can't do this on my own. I have an idea for it, but I can't do it on my own. I need to build a team. And he came on as the cinematographer. We initially had planned to do 2 films. This one that I'd written and one that he'd written, and he'd be my cinematographer, I'd be his. And as it turned out, it didn't happen that way. Time restraints and getting stuff. I think he wanted to build a confessional. No spoilers, but he wanted to build a confessional. And it was just time constraints on getting that done.
It's my
So-
watch smashing into my desk.
I was thinking, what was that? But it was interesting. But I did miss having that kind of on set, kind of back and forth, and the way we solve these problems, and
that's
we always
that's
argue on
such
set.
a weird
Always.
part about film production. It's the one part that I didn't expect to miss is the onset arguments. The the disagreements is probably a bit nicer way of saying it, because they're not arguments.
Yeah.
But that's how, at least in my opinion, is how we achieve the best content that we can, is through each of our different perspectives. Alex's sort of very passionate, creative wants, Nathan's logical what we're gonna have, and then I try and combine the two. Tends to be how it goes. Those formulas will mix up every now and then.
It's a give and take and compromise. And
yeah.
But the thing is, it gets us to a better point, though.
Yeah.
a
100%.
darker point.
I feel very upset about this. I've never experienced the raw fury of Alex when I've been working with him on
it's
on
something.
set on short films. I mean, I don't know. I really like this short film, the I Love You More. I just think it's very tight, which is why I really like it. It's like, I mean, is it under 3 minutes?
It is 2 minutes 59.
Nathan, it's what you wanted.
Yeah. It's kind of what we were saying before about like when you're forced to do, like with TikTok, it's like when you're forced into that constraint, because my road reel has to be 3 minutes long. So I think you kept coming back to us. You're like, it's 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Where can I cut frames? And I think
Literally, it got down to I was cutting frames from scenes. Like,
yeah.
which
But
is less than a second. It's a
I
fraction.
genuinely think it's probably because you had to be in that 3 minutes. You couldn't like hang on a joke. You couldn't hang on to like bits and pieces here and there. It's actually probably one of the funniest ones. I know that we haven't made,
think
but like
this would work. This film would work better as maybe 4 minutes, 4 minute 5 maximum.
He's just upping the numbers. 20 minutes in the
20
edit,
minutes.
30 minutes in
Feature
the
film.
end.
But there are so many times where I was like, that needed like 60 more frames to be funnier, and it is just those little tiny little bit. Hang on, that's 2 whole seconds, not maybe 60 frames. It just needed those fractions of a moment longer. And I know, like the scene there in the van where he is, in my head, was significantly longer.
Yeah.
Purely for the awkwardness. Because the rest of it's very fast paced, and I just wanted that little section in the middle where it's just like, because he's there with he's been kidnapped essentially, and he's just like there in the van. And originally I wanted Careless Whisper to come on. He turns on the radio, Careless Whisper's on, and then goes to turn it off, but
You
the
tried to
kidnapper
get the
slaps
license
his
for
hand
that,
away.
right?
I did. It was going to cost me like £1,000
Yeah.
to use 15 seconds of it. Not even 15 seconds, that would have been too long. Like 5 seconds of this music. And then also not be able to use it indefinitely.
Yeah.
It would have been, that was for a year.
oh,
So
Yeah, that was for 1
it's a
year.
good thing you didn't do that.
So what was your process
Not
then
even publicly.
for getting the sort of read through down to? I assume when you went into it, you were pretty aware that it was going to be around 3 minutes before you edited
Yeah.
it. Did you do a read through
Yeah.
then with the cast?
Not so much, because I finished writing it 2 weeks before we shot it. I say finished writing. I finished like working on it because it was
Yeah.
written, but it needed work.
I've never heard
It
this
was like
before
2
from
weeks
Alex.
prior to shooting. I had 6 weeks total, okay? and then, I had to kind of organise with the actors to be able to meet up and do rehearsals, because this was like a very physical
No.
shoot, because we have like a fight scene that we needed to choreograph, which we will show. I
Is that a Ramsey Town Commissioner? Is that
because it's very short. That's June McGuinness.
a Ramsey Town Commissioner?
Ramsey Town Commissioner.
I think.
Yeah, he is. And so we had like kind of stunts. So I managed to source a crash mat and a space, and we had to rehearse that, and kind of like the one-on-one lines. I wanted to get the chemistry right there. So we didn't get the chance to do a full start to finish read through. It was kind of me with a stopwatch on my phone, reading through it myself out loud on my own in my office, and it was like, okay, well that's about 3 minutes. I'm sure I can make this work. I'd like to think I did.
I think it's really good. I really like
think
it.
Works.
I loved directing and editing this scene. It's a fight scene. When I was writing this, I was like, I want to make something I've not done before. It's gonna be stupid. well, I've done stupid. It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be weird, and I want to do a fight scene because why not? And this is how it turned out. And that was it. That's like, how long is that?
20 seconds.
That whole sequence is, yeah, about 20 seconds. But that was maybe 5 hours of shooting.
Yeah, that's always the way, innit?
It was a lot. But like we had the crash mat there. Obviously, people are getting thrown onto the ground and running into van doors. It was wild. But it was fun to work on. I think it could have been. I don't know if we would have got more done as a team, because we do also have fun. It's one of them. But like,
I mean,
like
it
I
would
said,
have
I
been
worked.
different. I definitely think
Yeah.
it would have been different.
Yeah.
I don't know in what way, but I think that I know there's things that when you showed it to me that I told you to change and you kept it in, but that's purely because it's your project.
That's it.
And I think
Well,
with the both of us coming into it, we would have also been like pushing for different things to have either been
Yeah.
included or excluded. I think it would have been a completely different film.
yeah, I agree. But as well, you know, we might have been able to do it differently. It a lot of the stuff kind of in the edit where it was like we need to change this or go for a different take there. I just didn't have it. We didn't have the coverage.
You
Because it
wouldn't
was-
have
we
had
had
that
the
problem
weekend.
if I was there. That's for sure.
Would have
You
taken
always-
double the time to film.
You always rinse me for it, but now look who's right after all. Coverage.
I think for
I
me,
tried.
I'm just very impressed that you've actually got, was it 2 match cuts? And I remember in Isle when I was going through that with you, and there was like this match cut for he's fallen over, and it wasn't quite lining up, and it was really frustrating you. And I was just
On the
like,
grass.
"Oh, there's 2 of these. Well done. You've developed
Yeah.
as a filmmaker."
This is a motion match cut. This is my favorite one. There is 2 actual match cuts. One we just saw. This is my favorite one, where he's been punched on the face. He's bent over.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good cut.
There's like 3 of them, isn't there? Actually,
Yeah,
in
there's
the
3.
whole
There's one when it
thing?
turns day to night.
Yeah, day to night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that one, which we managed to hide some of these micro errors in the shadows, but this is quite far away on a long lens, and I think we just got the angle just off, and it took me so long to like just get it
Yeah.
matched, which was I think what could have been very beneficial to this, because it wasn't quite turning out how I wanted it to look. This is becoming a review again. Was I think an anamorphic lens would have done me well here,
Put you on the
because
italic.
I wanted that kind of head space, that wide. With the what was that?
Oh, I was just doing a callback to episode 1 there for you, but
Oh yeah.
Put him in italics.
Put them in italic.
But it, you know, if I had all the equipment I could have. We had a lot of equipment. Like Dave had like this easy rig thing, like the glide cam, not glide cam, steady cam.
Yeah.
He had like a steady rig, which was like this big vest with like these arms coming off it to counterweight the camera. It was insane.
and you just had your G80 on there, just a tiny little camera.
I didn't even have the GH5, which is good.
I think it's a really good like short film for, you know, I really like it just because it's tight. It really reminds me of a lot of Edgar Wright, and it's very dynamic. I think that's probably
I'll
why I
take
like
that.
it.
Don't let it go to
That's
his
gonna
ego.
go to
Yeah,
his
well,
head.
you know, I gotta be careful with handing out praise. I mean, normally when Alex sends me something, I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
I had the same
Um,
thing this week because my mum commented on the podcast saying about Alex hilariously vaping, who did it right on cue there. My mum was like, he reminded me of Laurence Olivier. And I know I've just told you, but I remember thinking, not going to tell him that.
I don't think I would ever describe someone vaping as looking like Just imagine Laurence Olivier just chonging down on a big raspberry
Excuse
vape.
me, boys. Excuse me, boys. I just need to make some clouds.
I need to blow a fat one.
Huh?
I need to blow a fat one.
Let me blow a fat one.
Maybe get
Laurence Olivier.
Maybe take that out. Laurence Olivier.
2K21.
It is epitome.
Right, but yeah, I think it is an interesting film because of you made it completely on the fly with a load of restrictions. It's a good achievement, really. Should be proud of
Yeah.
it.
I'm proud of it. I am proud of it. I am hoping that we can do another one. Because
Oh,
we
man,
had
me
another
too.
circuit breaker lockdown, which we are
Poor
once again out
you.
of. I know. We had like a few cases spring up based from travel. Everyone in that situation had followed the rules. They'd done their isolation. It was just one of those more rare, unfortunate occasions where they had it after the 14 days. Still, I don't know what happened. I'm not in the room. But we had that circuit breaker lockdown. We're back out and free again. And I'm hoping that can get kind of back onto something creative soon.
Well, hopefully when the borders
just
open.
Long term, things can get sorted out and we can make films again.
God, man, yeah. I mean, we've been
move
in
home.
me and is it the same in Scotland, Nick? I think it is.
Yeah, tell us the situation
'cause
there.
We've
You're like
been
a
in
week ahead of
lockdown.
us. You do it a bit quicker.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So we were in lockdown all summer, and then came out of it and had the stupidest thing. I work in a pub, so we had like eat out to help out going on and stuff like that. And it was sort of like acting like it was back to normal, and then it turned into, oh, you need to wear a mask rather than you should wear a mask. It was like you need to, and then by late October, it was very clear that it was all going down the pan again, and we were going to reset for another year. So then, yeah, we ended
Well, we
up in
went
lockdown.
into lockdown in November,
Yeah,
and then came out, and then went straight back in again.
came out for Christmas.
Well, that was a similar situation, I feel, for Nick. Like, you had, like, Hogmanay.
We didn't
What was that
really
like?
have Hogmanay. We had Hogmanay. I just remember, was it 2019, 2020 Hogmanay? Me and my partner standing looking at the fireworks going 2021, 2020, that'll be our year. And didn't really turn out that way. But I mean, it's been very much the same. When lockdown first started, I was filming properties as well. Like, doing estate agency reels and things like that. And obviously that completely dried up. And then it changed quite a lot to essentially wanting 360 video. Not 360 video, 360 photos. That's what everyone was wanting, because obviously they couldn't go and see the properties. They didn't want video anymore. They just wanted 360 photos. And I was like, right now, I'm not going to buy additional kit. When income streams are drying up, you don't want to spend another 200, 300 quid on a 360 camera that I would never use ordinarily. It would probably just go in my kit cupboard and it would get used intermittently for whenever we go back to video. But yeah, from then it just really dried up. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but
I had
in
one
England.
job through the whole of the lockdown. Through the whole of the first lockdown, I had one job, which was a welcome back video for a school, which was ironic because they didn't go back to school. But that was it. I had nothing else professional work to do other than like my actual job, but freelancing, that was it for the whole of 2020. That was it.
I've had nothing. I'm primarily a director. I don't don't love videography. I mean, I would do it, but I
Well, we've worked
prefer to
together
direct
on a couple of
yeah,
business shoots.
but I don't like I don't get the fun of working with a camera. I like to direct and craft a thing rather than just film it. And I know that you guys will argue that that's not what it is, but in my head, it's just sort of at its
kind
core,
of it.
sort of bore me. So I've basically just gone head and shoulders into music production for the last year and trying to expand my skills and get better at this production side specifically, but also try and write a lot more music than I was doing before, because it's the only thing that I can do, really. Just sit at this desk all day and just I mess around with synth plugins and then find a sound I like and record guitar over it and then go, there's a song here. And then I'll spend 6 months working on it and fall out of love with it and move on to the next one.
So will you be doing
coming
will you be doing the next score on the next short film or the next feature film?
I'd love to. I think that's probably something that I would be arguing for, because I did the music for the pod. Oh, I just called it
the pod.
I don't think it's a long enough word to need shortening.
No.
Jeez.
I've never heard that shortened.
7 letters, 2 syllables.
It makes you feel like you're doing more when you're also adding another layer of your job on, rather than in the past it would be like I'd work on the set and then come home and just be like, back to work, and then
I think that's
message
the
the
thing
group
that's
chat
good,
like,
'cause
what's
I
the
think
progress?
We've all been doing like our own skills, and I feel like that's something that people have all been doing through lockdown, regardless of what their hobby is. Everyone's been trying to like do something, if it's like gardening or that's literally the only hobby I can think of right now.
Baking. I got into baking for a long time.
Yeah.
I've got
lots of
a nice
banana bread was
Banaton.
made.
Well, actually, Nick's big into his coffee. That could be a TikTok channel.
Oh, yeah.
You get people
Well,
onto the coffee making TikTok.
So originally, back in day, I did like coffee reviews and things
I
like that.
remember.
Yeah.
You had an
And-
Instagram.
Yeah, I was anonymous on it, and because I wasn't particularly the nicest about coffee, like
You
Edinburgh has a,
thought the coffee elitists were gonna come for you.
well, I mean, on the Isle of Man, if you're reviewing a cafe, and there's only 10 people.
It's all right.
Uh,
I was picturing more like today, Nescaf.
Oh no. I mean, but that would probably get quite a lot of views. There's a guy he reviews sinks on TikTok.
I've seen
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
He does.
That's high content.
I have a book downstairs. It's like a coffee table book, which is based on an Instagram that this guy has that I am obsessed with, which is hand dryers in bathrooms, and it's just different hand dryers. It's amazing. Look it up and buy it. It's the best. I love it so much.
But these niche channels, like they are, I mean, that's one of the reasons. Because when I was younger, there's a guy who's really famous on the Isle of Man, called Charles Gard, and he does a lot of stuff called like Curiosities of the Island and things like that. And I was always really into those when I was younger. There'd be like derelict buildings, or there'd be like a weird sort of like statue that you think, what is that doing there? And it was videos on that, and that's one of the reasons why I sort of started making these videos, is because I was really into them. Also, for the other reason is that I didn't really know how to use After Effects for the longest time, and just doing like animations and like using Illustrator to make sort of graphics and things like that. I hate to say it, but so in the world of comms and videography, people are expecting more from one person. They want that kind of package. I know you have to be a jack of all trades, and I don't particularly like that. But it's just the reality of it, is that when someone asks, can you film stuff? It's not just can you film stuff, can you film edit, do all the animations?
Well, the thing is as well, you're like, if you need like graphics or something, like you're saying, like a little thing here would be great. You're like, I might as well just learn it. There's no point in me trying to find someone else. Like, I'm here, let's just jump into After Effects and just try my hand at it and see what works.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we did a video for blank, and they said, "Can you?" They weren't supposed to be wearing this necklace in all these shots.
Oh my god!
Can you edit out a necklace in every frame. That
I
was
tried
fun.
it. I tried it. I
It
was
looked
like, I'll
awful.
take like a patch of her skin and like
Yeah.
move it down. It did not stick. It was like flying all over the place.
Ah!
I
Just ended up having to go back and go, no, I can't.
I've had that though. I've had people being like, you know, I did a lot of aerial work for someone once, or for a company once, and they were like, okay, this is great. And I did it as a favor because I was trying to get a little bit more exposure doing aerial work. And they were like, okay, this is great. And they showed it to the bosses at the organization, and they came back and said, that's okay, that's pretty good. Interesting, you got aerial shots. Can you add a load of animations to it, and can you basically map out where all this stuff is going to go on the thing? And I was just like, I'm doing this for free. You know, taking a drone up and sort of setting up a drone and things like that. That's one thing. But
Yeah.
spending ages basically drawing infrastructure projects onto my footage is not something I have time to do when
And
I'm
when
doing,
you're not
when I've
like a
got full-time
motion or graphic designer or something, you're like, I'm just gonna have to like go on a YouTube tutorial and just slap it on and hope for the
yeah.
best.
You know, that is very much. I mean, because I was quite interested to hear that you didn't do a degree in, you know, TV or film and things like that. I was shocked to hear that, because like I did a degree in politics, and I got into this sort of by accident when Alex was like, "Have you got a camera?" One time, and I did have a camera, and it happened that I just went along and filmed something for him, and from there it sort of spiraled. But I was really shocked to hear that you didn't do a degree in it. Like, it's obviously all self-taught. That's pretty impressive, pretty good.
Well, I've been doing it since, I think I did media at like GCSE level in BTECs, and I think so I must have started at like 14 or 15. I don't know when, I can't remember when you do GCSEs.
Yeah.
And then my teacher was like, "So you're gonna do a degree in it now?" I was like, "No, I can't get a job. Like, like that's not gonna lead to anything."
The pragmatic 14-year-old Nathan.
Yeah. So
That's
so
not
now
very sensible now, is it, miss?
my job is in
I'm gonna do
nutrition.
nutrition.
Well,
Yeah,
Like,
no,
well,
I mean-
people gotta eat.
well, that
It was
was
all just
like,
off YouTube.
Yeah.
It was literally,
Yeah.
it was like Film Riot and
yeah.
Oh, I love Film Riot.
Corridor Digital. It was just like, that was it. I was like, I just want to make stuff like they do. So I was like learning After Effects. And the one thing that I had never tried to learn was 3D. Because I know that Alex had asked, he was like, can you do like some 3D stuff? I was like, absolutely not. But then through lockdown, I was like, you know what?
Why not?
Why not? Why not? And I've been watching this guy called Ian Hubert, who makes amazing thing. They're called lazy tutorials. They're like a minute long, and it's just really, really, I don't know how to describe it. They're amazing things that you can do in Blender, like 3D visual effects.
yeah.
But the way that he makes them, they just look bad. But then when you put it all together, it's amazing. Like these really like low poly like ducks with like these ridiculous animations. But then he puts it all together, and you're like, those are real ducks. It's ridiculous.
See,
I'll
I
have
fear
to watch that.
I fear that I'd get lost halfway through that, because like in terms of like watching it, I'd get halfway through my animation, I'd think, what am I doing? Like, why have I got 6 triangles on screen
Yeah, I'm absolutely the same.
flapping about?
That was me for the opening of the podcast. I was like, okay, well, it'd be cool to. It was kind of we were just chatting about it. I was like, I could animate the logo, because I've done some like After Effects animation, and that was kind of my lockdown task of choice, was learning how to animate. And I ended up getting onto Adobe Animate, which is essentially frame by frame animation. And I thought, for the record, I cannot draw. I'm terrible at drawing. Hannah, my partner, she's incredible at drawing. She, like, for my previous album art, she was kind of the one who dealt with all that, because I'm rubbish. So like After Effects was great. You're taking assets, you're squeezing squares and whatnot. But I was like, I want to learn how to frame by frame animate, which is why the mouth, when you look at if you freeze that mouth on our little opening logo, if you look at any individual frame, I beg you don't. It's awful. It's horrific. It's not semblant of any mouth you'll ever come across in your life. But in motion, it doesn't matter.
But it's like,
But if
have you
it
seen
works-
like The Simpsons, where they like turn their
Yeah.
head really quickly and they've got like 3 eyes or something? It's just the
Yeah,
way that
yeah.
like
But you have to do it. You have
Yeah.
to do I had the opening of the logo is like the ball is like shooting and splatting, and you have to do that bend and squash basically, or squash and stretch even, because it gives the Have you ever seen the original Spider-Man animation series?
Yeah.
Like
Probably.
he jumps off a building and he just goes, and there's no weight to it. It's like he's air. He's weightless. So you're gonna have that when a ball's flying through the air, it's like it stretches out, and then when it lands, you have to squash it down,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to its normal shape.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and so that was something that was cool to learn. Like I did a tutorial, like tip tut tutorial, and it's a hand drawn bird, and I managed to draw. I drew a bird, but when it flies away, if you stop that frame, it's just this long streak with like an orange cone for a beak, legs like twice the length of it, but that's like a frame.
But it works. I mean, like, it works. Like, and
Yeah.
if you had, it's a point of diminishing returns if you're spending, 5 hours animating this bird that's in frame for 5 seconds compared to just like it's not good. Like, it's good enough, but it's not just good enough. It's like it's actually what the professionals do on it. Like you say, The Simpsons. Like, I'm sure this happens. Maybe not in Pixar, but I'm sure this happens. All over the show for animations.
Well, yeah, like if I were to move an arm like that, I'm not drawing that arm here, here,
Yeah.
here. I'm drawing an arm here, and then I'm basically doing an arm there and there, but in the middle, I'm doing a big triangle, all the same color, and that creates like a motion blur effect that you would see in actual video. And it was so strange. I was like, oh, I can skip like so much.
Yeah.
And I was just drawing a big triangle, a big
There you go.
blob.
The next glass line is going to be an animated feature.
Let's animate
It
the
took me
podcast.
so long.
I actually
Oh.
I love that. Is it Hello Internet animated that I watch, and I love that little short clips of it. I'd love to see myself
it's
animated.
like people do them with stand-up bits as well, don't they? Like,
yeah.
I've seen them with John Mulaney's. Some of his ones have been animated. They're
I
great.
love John Mulaney so much.
Yeah, I know. I could do an entire
so
podcast about talking about John Mulaney.
For me, I mean, I watch so much YouTube. It's unreal. In terms of like getting me to be more creative, it's watching what people I subscribe to are putting out every week and thinking, well, I could probably do something similar to that. I should probably get writing. So I mentioned them sort of before, which is like Tom Scott, the Tim Traveller, Jeff Marshall, Bald and Bankrupt, like these kind of like sort of informational channels about videography and not about videography, about like urban planning and design. I listen to a lot of urban planning and sort of like history podcasts because I'm a massive loser, and they kind of like, but they kind of get me to sort of think about stuff in the city that I see every day when I'm walking around. That's kind of the big thing. It's just like innocuous things.
Stuff you'd miss.
Yeah, stuff that you normally miss. And I actually just read the 99% Invisible book, The Invisible City. I don't know if you listen to that podcast. It's a podcast all about design and how design sort of affects, the world in which we live in our lives. And quite a lot of it is on city planning and urban planning and sort of like quirks of the city. And Edinburgh is quite a quirky city, so there's a lot of stuff to pull from there. And when I was a student here, I didn't really take advantage of that. I was a student, so I was doing other stuff, but not studying. But now, when I go out for a walk, I'm kind of a lot more aware of the city around me. Mainly it's because I'm watching so much of this content that is sort of like pointing out the minutiae in the city and the interesting facts about the city. In terms of creative stuff, like in terms of like directors and creative stuff, which is what I kind of like struggled with. My daily watch is basically Star Trek all day. So I've been watching a lot of that, and they aren't known to be the most sort of technically impressive TV shows in terms of like their direction. The 80s and 90s TV. But yeah, it's mainly just been a lot of YouTube and like sort of from the creator standpoint, what we were talking about before. A lot of those tutorials, so like DSLR video shooter. I watch a lot of him. This guy edits. A lot of that, a lot of him as well. So it's that's sort of my main media consumption.
For me, it's like I do find inspiration in films and stuff. Like there was a film that dropped on Netflix a few days ago called Malcolm and Marie. It's got
everyone's talking about that.
Zendaya and John David Washington in it. Yeah. It's a bit wanky, but it's good. Like it's very much made by a filmmaker who thinks the world revolves around filmmakers, because even the script is about it, and it's a lot, but at the same time it's sort of very, very story based. It's only set in one location, which I love that shit. So that did inspire me, and then like I said, Tenet that inspired me to sort of think about how I write things, even though I'd never write something on that scale, obviously. My inspirations do come from films that I watch, but mostly it's music for me, so like, and environment. So if I'm listening to music that makes me feel nostalgic, and I'm, say, in a place where I grew up and the sun's shining, then I'll be more inclined to write a nostalgia-based script. If I'm writing a scene where someone's, very depressed, which I have a big old history of writing those, I'll tend to be thinking that up, listening to Phoebe Bridgers on a train in the night while it's raining. I use music to get my moods to help me write. So especially during lockdown, that's how it's gone.
I remember reading something that you'd sent through, and I was like, this is giving me like the vibes of this song, and you were like, I definitely wasn't listening to that when I wrote this. And I was like, cool.
I think it was when we told you to listen to Phoebe Bridgers, and you were like, this sounds like this music would go with the script you wrote. And you're like, yep, I was listening to that on repeat.
Or like the whole of the last script that I haven't finished it, obviously. It's just the few scenes that I've sent you. I wrote with Without Fear by Dermot Kennedy just playing in my head over and over again.
Yeah.
To be fair, I have a playlist now called because for a time I wanted to do this sort of like idea for a comedy series, basically called Offshore Paradise, about the island being a tax haven, and I sent some ideas to Alex, and it would be set in the 90s, which was like the boom time of the Isle of Man, but it wouldn't be set on the Isle of Man.
I thought it was
essentially
drama.
Someone comes there as a comedy drama, I guess.
Okay.
And I have just like the Bee Gees, Islands in the Stream, Wannabe by the Spice Girls, and Sailor V by Bewitched.
Yeah.
Loads of these like 90s songs. And what I do is like when I'm out walking, I'll often just listen to these songs, and they don't help me to visualize scene. Well, they help me to visualize sort of like they're either the intro or the ending sting. And I've just got to fill out the rest of the middle.
Yeah.
I know what the start and end of every episode looks like. And I know what
Dude,
musically.
I am the same. That's how I do it. I especially endings. Music helps me picture endings so well, which is great because they're the hardest things to write.
Forget about me.
I think we should do that in our next short. You dressed as like a mermaid. Just...
Spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Jinx.
Sorry.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of completely different, because I feel like I've gone from feeling like I want to write scripts to more like the world kind of thing of the script itself. So like over
Like
lockdown,
world building.
Yeah.
Basically, I
Pretty
mean that's
much.
super important.
Yeah, and like I don't really feel like the need to write at the moment. Maybe it'll change, like when we can actually make stuff again. But like every time I've been like, I really want to write something, I haven't written anything. And I feel like it's because...
And now that he doesn't, just you watch.
I'll write the shit out of something.
Purely by accident.
Yeah.
It is hard though to have like this burst of inspiration and go and write something knowing that you won't be able to make it for like a year.
But every time I've done
Minimum.
a film, it's been collaborative, basically.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the point I need to be in if I want to write something. So like when we've done Lost in Our World, I don't think I've actually ever written something by myself. Anytime we did like videos at uni, short films.
You've written
or
some
anything.
scenes and stuff that you've sent through that've been like really good. I remember you doing one about, I can't remember it was based in a lab.
Yeah,
and it
well,
was that conversation between, I know, that was a long time ago. I just remember reading that and being like, this is so simple. Like, there's a world behind it. Like you say, it's the world building. I knew it was a lab. It was based in the context of this situation, but it was a conversation.
That was like my Aaron Sorkin deep dive.
Were they
I watched it.
walking whenever they spoke?
Yes, they were constantly walking.
Always walking. Down a corridor.
Always
That was the same
inspirational at the
corridor.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like now it's like
With Bewitched playing at the end.
Bewitched
Same
is
like
actually
me.
the start of an episode, I'll have you know.
I can't imagine it as an outro, like some like really emotional moment, and they're crying, and then it's like,
Well, it's all about the cut to black, and then the That's how you get it into
and
the
then the entire cast come out and do like the Irish dance that they do in the video.
I hate it.
Sorry for destroying your earnest moment there, Nathan.
no,
Aaron,
it's
sorry, you were at Aaron
perfectly okay.
Sorkin deep dive. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but like now, so like basically it's come from doing the stuff in Blender, like just being like, okay, well, if I'm gonna try and make stuff, why don't I try and make like this big expansive world or something? So the thing I'm working on at the moment is for a film, which I have no intention of writing, but it's like everything is controlled by like some kind of biometrics thing, and I'm creating like the company and the interface of this thing which controls everything, and that's the thing I'm more interested in now. So rather than actually making the story of the thing, I want to make the thing behind the story, which is why I want to get back to us all making things, because
that does tie in.
Yeah,
'Cause it's-
exactly.
yeah,
Because
so
we've got some
collaborative.
stuff with something Max has been writing
Hmm.
that is kind of futuristic. Without giving too much away,
Yeah.
there's like elements of futurism.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
big time.
building the technology that doesn't exist and having the capability to do that. You know, I think the most like I'm writing something as well. I need to get back onto that. I wrote for like a week solid and then stopped.
I do the same. I go like writing,
Hard.
music, writing,
Exactly.
music. Like,
I think the most high tech thing in that is like a ladder. So if you could 3D design a ladder,
It's too complicated. Can't
sorry,
do it.
okay.
Too difficult.
Okay, we'll think of something else. Get a step ladder. You're not my real ladder.
No,
no, bad,
no.
bad.
Yeah.
Cut that, Nathan. So yeah, that's basically it for us. We've been speaking for about an hour and a half now. I assume it wasn't all waffle. But yeah, Nick, have you got anything you want to plug for the people out there? Let them know what you're doing.
Obviously Glassline Media come first and foremost. But if you want, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Nick Hawks. Just be posting videos probably once a month, let's hope, on topics about Edinburgh. That's really it. I'm now
It's
looking
very
at my
interesting.
camera.
I'll vouch for it. I've watched the two that are out. It is really good content. It's not something I thought I would have any interest in.
Thanks,
Given
thanks
that-
guys. I
given
really
that
appreciate that.
I hate
I haven't
Edinburgh
watched
for
it, and I
stealing
think
my
it's
boy.
great.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, Nathan.
Edinburgh stole my boy. I want him back. So
Well, it'll be good to be back on the island at some point, because I do
Yeah.
miss working with Alex. As much of a pain as he can be.
It's true.
I miss making videos with other people, and it'll be great when we can do that again. It'd be nice to actually meet you two in person.
Yeah.
After I've
Yeah.
heard so much about you for so many years. But we'll see.
So many.
Thanks for having me on,
years.
guys. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
thank you for coming
anytime,
on.
man.
It's been a joy.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
so we'll resume the regular broadcasting next week. We'll be talking about Isle, which I know you've all been dying to hear about. So, yeah, that was good. That was good fun. I think we're good.